obviously all those commentators are condemning the idea that Shapiro's candidacy could be negatively impacted because he's Jewish, but it is still stunning to hear that idea so openly discussed. Is there any other race or ethnicity that we could have substituted for Jewish where it would be okay to suggest that it would somehow be risky to be a person on the ticket because of their race or ethnicity? I can't think of one. And yet in today's Democratic Party, it seems, sadly, that it's completely fair to question whether it's Shapiro's Judaism will keep him from being the vice presidential nominee. That's the question. Well, joining us right now to discuss this is Congressman Jake Auchincloss, Democrat from Massachusetts. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. I mean, am I totally unfair to say that certain factions of your party right now are holding the fact that Josh Shapiro is Jewish against him?
Not the mainstream party, but I do think that the overly online left is piling on him in a way that they are not against the other half dozen or so top contenders when their positions on Israel are functionally the same. And it's hard not to think about, well, what's different about him, right? And it's interesting that we're having this conversation right now during the Olympics, because watching the Olympics and seeing those podiums and seeing the competitors, one thing becomes so clear is that in the United States, our diversity plus competition makes us strong. And both the Democratic and the Republican parties, I think, need to embrace diversity as a source of strength for this country and to evaluate people through competitive practices that don't look at religion or race or nation of origin or other things that are immutable characteristics.
I think that's very well said. You know, spotlight is put on the Democratic Party right now, and I'm curious what that says about the party, that you have these overly online factions who seem to be dominating so much of the conversation around Josh Shapiro.
I don't know that they're dominating the conversation, Jesse. I think Kamala Harris's team, I think most seasoned observers are looking at the fact that he's been a highly successful governor of Pennsylvania who rebuilt a highway in a matter of weeks, who has been a steady hand in a purple state, who has won over unenrolled and independent voters. I think those are the things that are really going to be salient to Kamala Harris and to her team. And frankly, regardless of who she picks, what's interesting about this selection at this moment is that it's as much of an opportunity for Kamala Harris to introduce herself as it is to introduce her running mate. The American public are still learning who she is. And so whoever she picks over this course of this next week as they go through battleground states, I hope that she uses it as an opportunity to say, here's who I'm picking, and here's what it says about me. Here's why I made this choice, and here's how the two of us together are going to go out there and try to lower costs for Americans, give you some more breathing room in this economy, to try to expand individual freedom in this country. That's the opportunity we have. Make this about the future.
Are you concerned about him as the selection? I mean, if you talk about states like Michigan, right, where it could be a factor. We have the DNC coming up out in Chicago. Are you concerned if Governor Shapiro is the choice?
Not at all. And what's ironic, actually, is to win this election, whether it's through the blue wall states or through the Sun Belt states, Kamala Harris is going to have to appeal to those Haley voters in the heartland. And to do that, she'll have to signal moderation. She'll have to demonstrate that she can stand up to the strident left. And the more that Twitter piles on Josh Shapiro, actually, the more, frankly, he might be helpful to her in so doing.
This issue, though, the Israel issue, it's not going away anytime soon. And as we're going to be talking about later on the show, the situation could get very worse in a matter of hours. How does the Democratic Party rework that schism that there seems to be on this issue? There seems to be a sense of division within the party about it.
No, it's not going away. But President Biden, who is still the commander-in-chief, has been unwavering in his support of Israel for 50 years, and he's not blinking now. He has moved an aircraft carrier group into the Middle East to demonstrate to Iran and to Hezbollah that they will not be able to retaliate without a response against Israel, and that the United States is going to continue to stand by our ally. If you look at the Democratic Party more broadly, Israel and Gaza are not even a top 10 issue, Jesse. I mean, it's cost of living, it's jobs in the economy, it's protecting democracy, it's reproductive freedom. These are the issues that are going to galvanize voters. These are the issues that are on the ballot. And you have Donald Trump and J.D. Vance talking about taking us backwards as a country. You're talking about Donald Trump trying to impose an 1890s tax policy, J.D. Vance a 1950s social policy. Kamala Harris and her running mate don't need to be talking about Israel and Gaza. They should be talking about cost of living and a more fair tax code and more freedom.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.